Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Eddie Marcus. One more time. For those of you who are here, I want to thank you so very much for giving me this your time and an opportunity to share with you some stuff that I have learned that perhaps it might be of some value to you. At least that is my intention. The things that I'm saying to you, ladies and gentlemen, are pertinent as far as our lives, our living here on this earth today. Well, you know, I heard that life is everlasting, and I used to believe, not sure today, that once we leave this earth, this body is burn up or put in the earth or something, that our lives continue on in another place. Now, I have no evidence of that. That has been something that I was taught over my lifetime, and for up until I stopped telling lies to myself and started admitting the truth, I said I didn't know. And all of a sudden, that part, after I die, lost its significance. I really don't have any concern about that now. My concern is about living today and what it all means, the concept of life, the joy of life. And when people start talking about heaven as being someplace somewhere else, my question is, if it can be there, why can't it be here? And if it can be here, then let's take care of the business of seeing that heaven is here. You know, I often say, I have said so many things to you because of my ignorance, and I have called you ignorant. And when I found out that I was ignorant myself, then I understand that I cannot expect things that from others that they themselves have not affirmed, as if I knew then, but now I do know for myself that I don't know all things, and some things I think it doesn't make it real. And so I should pay more attention to you, pay more attention to my purpose, pay more attention to my efforts and what I'm seeking. And so, ladies and gentlemen, if I have offended you in any way that was not deserved, I'd like to apologize, and I really would like to also accept your apology that you direct towards me. Let me ask you this. You have seen something like this, a book. You call it the Bible. And that book has amazing significance for you. You believe, some of you, that everything that is in it is from God. It's not to be tampered with. And every answer to every question that might come out of anybody's mind, the answer is in that book. And you don't know that you believe that because you've been taught that. You have no concept of where that book comes from, what changes it has gone through, and who has touched it to bring about those changes, and the various reasons and the motivations that they might have had to bring about those changes. You have been told that no changes must ever be made, and that God said no changes must ever be made. And so you've accepted that, not as something that you know for a fact, but something that you believe to the degree that you will claim it as a fact. But I say it's a book of dead men, written by dead men, arranged by dead men, orchestrated by dead men. Now you know that's a fact. But I ask you, if you can believe that all of that deadness is truth, then why can't you believe a man like me and others, but right now me, can stand before you and glorify a truth that is the most pertinent truth I've ever known, and you discard it? You don't even want to hear it if it doesn't align with what that book says. Well, I understand that. Nevertheless, I am that I am. And it is because I am that I stand before you. Now you might ask, why should you pay any attention to anything that I say? And to that I would say that I experienced some kindness, some mercy in my life that persuaded me and encouraged me, inspired me to do and say the things that I say to you. Now, based upon my past teaching and acceptance, I gave that credit to God because the message that I have is seemingly so profound that I have not witnessed it at any other source. I haven't witnessed it anywhere else, the kind of love that I have been inspired to speak about. And so, since I haven't heard you say it, I haven't read you saying it, I'm thinking it's unique. And I say it must come from God. Could it possibly come from me? I don't know, but I have said it couldn't because you can't. You haven't. So I'd like to assign that special gift, that special talent to the one that is more special than you and I. The one that was responsible for the creation of the earth and all that the earth is about. I'd like to say that power, even though I can't see it and we can't see it, we can't touch it and we can't feel it, but the evidence is here. So I'd like to say that that power is of God and just not me. And I'm kind of persuaded a little bit because I know you don't believe in me, but you believe in God. But what I'm trying to say to you today, ladies and gentlemen, is that what I want to tell you as truth, that means stuff that I have learned, I have been taught, whether it was just a personal experience or whether something else came and guided me that way. But it is truth, as I know truth to be. Now, there are some things that I believe, and I don't mind sharing with you my belief. When I say I'm telling you something and it's a fact, I don't mind you sharing it as a fact, if you can accept it as a fact or believe it as a fact. But what I believe, you can do what you want to with it. You can believe it if you want to. I'm not going to be mad. And I want you to know that this is very, very important as far as I can see in the fruition of life. Now, I am doing this, ladies and gentlemen, because I am inspired to do it. I'm not looking for your money. I'm not asking you for any money. I don't sell tapes. I give them away. Brochures, I give them away. The things that I do to benefit the human spirit, to benefit the human race, if I have gotten it through whatever the experiences might have been, I find it so essential and necessary for the freedom and the love and joy that we can receive until I wouldn't dare sell it to you. It's a gift from me to all of my brothers and all of my sisters. You see, I like to think about heaven, but I think if heaven is heaven, then heaven is heaven wherever it is, here or there. And if it does not exist here, then chances are it might not exist there. And if it exists there, it probably can exist here. So my concern, based upon my understanding of what I have idealized as heaven to be, it is that persuades me to stand before you and share with you those things that I do. I'd like to speak to you today, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not exactly sure what the subject matter is, but I'd like to share some information with you, and I call it to you. Ladies and gentlemen, my sisters and my brothers, and to all my fellow Americans, most of you have never heard of me. I'm not a politician, nor do I plan to politic. I'm here to offer to you something you have been praying for. My advocacy is about change. Change that allow you to assure positive results by participating in the process. You have trusted the left and you have trusted the right. You have trusted conservatives and you have trusted liberals. You have trusted the blacks and you have trusted the whites. Yet your prayers go unanswered. Now, the God that I referred to you, that I just shared with you about a moment ago, and I'm convinced God cares about you. And I'm convinced on the premise that I know that God cares about me. God cares about the problems that we experience as human beings. And God alone has the answers. Now, do you care? And do you care enough to do something? To get up off your knees and take care of business? It is the system of men that have denied you unknowingly, by your own support, by your own approval. It has denied you your liberation from this predicament. And if it is going to change, it's going to require a different approach. Now, this allows every qualified worker, pay attention to me, ladies and gentlemen, because I want you to know that the difference between me and them, those others that you refer to as politicians, the difference between me and them is I am one of you. I am poor when it's money is considered. I am in debt. I am in need of education for myself and those that I am responsible for. I am in need of a new educational system. And likewise, a new healthcare system. A new system of housing and other things that are important in our life. I know that to achieve what we pray for and what we reach out for, it must be our objective. It must be our objective from the outset. And it requires the heavenly ideals, and these ideals must be implemented by professionals, those who are familiar with how that must be done. But it must be the oversight of we the people who would either benefit positively from them or negative. So we must give the oversight that brings forth what we want. This allows, my friends, what I've just indicated that are important. Every qualified worker, working or unemployed, to choose a career that is joyous for you, and having done so, enter into this process. And by doing this, you will increase the number of workers in each profession and producing an abundance in these various professions of goods and services that each of us, as well as the rest, can have our needs, can have our wants, and can have our desires met. For more information about the specifics of this that I share with you today, you can find the details on my posts that I have on Facebook and YouTube. And they will describe everything that I have been posting in relationship to the degrees and the various subjects that I have faced and that I'm sure you will face. If there is to be a representative for you in this, that choice will be made by you, the people. Now, that could be me, or it could be you, or others. But the responsibility of the outcome rests with us all. Now, based upon how this thing must be acquired, and I'm speaking about something that's different, that means that for us, it would require a response with a right end, a right end. That outcome must be the result of a right end. And by doing this, it would indicate a mandate that we could change and reconsider the way we have done things, that voting and trying to determine if it's going to be conservative or Republican or liberal or Democrat or others. It will be reflective of something that is new. And since it's coming from us, if it's coming from me, especially since the message that has inspired me, it will pertain to all of us. You see, when I say that all of the politicians have failed us, it is because each of us, every last one of us, want a good life. We want peace and prosperity. We want joy and freedom. And we want the fulfillment of our dreams. And the politicians know this, and quite often they promise that. But every turn they have failed. Now, there are those that are so convinced that there is no God, there is no right for every individual to have that benefit, that they fight and kill to protect themselves from having to be around you and your freedom. They train their children to hate. They give them guns and program to be prepared for a war that will separate the rest of us from them. And they do this, my friends, my sisters, and my brothers, because they do not know any better. I remember several times I have sought after the office of President of the United States as a write-in. And why did I do that? I do that because I want you to have your heaven here on earth. I'm not saying if there's a heaven someplace else and you can get there, that you shouldn't. No. My inspiration is that joy is an appreciative response. My inspiration is that food and clothing is necessary for your survival. My inspiration is that education doesn't hurt if it's guided by your ambitions and your inspirations. And healthcare, we all can identify that for ourselves. We know what the problem is. We just didn't know how to fix it. There are those who say they know how to fix it, and none should be denied it. So what I'm saying to you, ladies and gentlemen, it is probably a pretty good thing that in our lifetime, the United States has had and have a president named Donald Trump. A president who has represented many of the things that other presidents have indicated that they would provide, and just like they failed, he has failed. But he has done something that most of them have not. He has found it a luxury to lie, to deceive, to exploit. But even he deserves forgiveness. Because I'm sure that he wasn't born that way, but he was raised that way. He's been taught to be that. And if any of us are to be forgiven for those inadequacies and inappropriate realities of our lives, then so should he. I'm asking you to forgive me for mine. And I'm willing to forgive each of you for yours. But I want to say that if we are to experience this heaven on earth that I'm inspired to talk to you about, we're going to have to forgive one another. Oh yes, we've done some strange things to one another. But we're going to have to throw that aside. It's like being in debt and somebody writing it off and say, don't worry about it. Then we're going to have to say that for the way we've mistreated, the way we've abused each other, taken advantage of each other and one another. We're going to have to say, forget it, brother, forget it, sister. We know that holds us back if we dwell on it, and we want to go forward. So we're going to write that off and say, we're not going to hold it against one another. We're going to start brand new. And in starting brand new, I want to make sure that every day, me, myself, this is my inspiration, that when you wake up in the morning, that you got a smile on your face, regardless of whatever it is that you do. We know that it's going to bring joy and maintain joy for you. I want to make sure, this is my inspiration, that as you go through the day, whatever needs you have in relationship to survival, that they are met. And that there's nothing there to deter it, to stop it, to stumble, cause it to stumble. But if anything is there, is to encourage you and take you forward. That is my inspiration. That you have your desires, that you have the kind of home that gives you pleasure. That you can walk in the streets and be satisfied that you can come back if you want to walk, and you can enjoy your walk. It is my inspiration that the killings on the streets, for all of the various reasons, they have none and they cease. It is my inspiration that we find no need for guns here in America. It is my inspiration that we have no need for welfare here in America, because all of our needs and the way the system is set up, we are able to produce enough of everything that we can all be joyous and satisfied. It is my inspiration, my friends, sisters, and brothers, that the hate groups and hatred and bigotry and that which has been brought up as a result of lying and cheating and stealing will have no life any longer. It is my inspiration, my friends, my sisters, and my brothers, that freedom is experienced as a way of joy for every last one of us. But I'm not just speaking about this for you and I, for white people and black people, for old people and young people, or people in Mississippi and people in Arkansas and people in Illinois and people in California and New York. I'm speaking about the 50 states, but I would be remiss if I gave you an impression that this is all I'm thinking about. No, my friends, it's not all I'm thinking about. I know that if peace is good for you, it's good for everybody. I know that if freedom is good for you, it's good for everybody. I know that if heaven is good for you, it's good for everybody. And so I want to take this inspiration and say to you that I want to see those people that's at the border running from all kinds of troubles. I want to see them with the ability to go back home knowing that what I speak to you here today about, they can experience it right there wherever they're at. I want you to understand that the inspiration that I speak to you about today is the same thing that would happen between Israel and the Palestinians. I want you to know that the inspiration that I share with you today, I want it to happen in Afghanistan. The inspiration that I speak to you about today to happen in North Korea, South Korea, Philippines, and everywhere on the face of the earth where people exist. I want you to know that the power for this to happen rests in our hands. Right now it begins with me. And as I shared with you, those of you who know it already, and those of you who don't, that it continues right with you. Now I have said that in the past when I sought after the office of President of the United States, I talked about these things and they were totally ignored. I speak about them to you today, and I have no desire to be President of the United States. But I do have a desire for the things that I talk to you about today to be a reality in our lives. And I'm speaking to you about them, and I don't hear anybody speaking to us about them, so I have to ask you if you want them. I don't mind serving you as the next President of the United States as a write-in. But I want you to know it's not going to just happen. It didn't happen other times, and it won't happen this time. Unless you believe and you want these things yourselves, and understanding that it is not policies, but it is the design by you, the people, making a commitment to see that these things are carried forward. Not fighting, but understanding the problems and recognizing the solutions and being willing to go forward and make that necessary change. And indeed, I'm not just talking about here on our what we call natural levels. I'm talking about in the churches as well, in these religions, where they all use the same book, the Book of Dead Men, and how they have differences within each organization or within each denomination. And yet they use the same book, and every last one of them claim to be right. But none of them saying to you what I'm sharing with you today and tonight. None of them are saying, let us go forward as a people created by some source we might not know anything about, but we give it to the same power that created the earth. We give it to God, and though we might have understandings about dead folks' interpretation or our interpretation about what dead folks have said, we know that it doesn't bring joy, and there must be something different. There must be a new perspective, and I say, my friends, that it is available to each and every last one of us. I share this information with you because I understand that a lot of people might be afraid of me because of who I am. They might be thinking that I am too much for them. They might think that I'm too holy, and I'm not. I'm just a child just like you, seeking out to a beautiful life for me, myself, my sisters, and my brothers, and my fellow Americans, and the human beings of the world. I share this information with you because it doesn't have to be me. It could be you or you or you or any citizen in America that could be inspired to want the love of life and heaven on earth for everybody and refuse to settle for anything less. I challenge you today to consider a wonderful life, not just for yourself but everybody. I ask you, ladies and gentlemen, when you look at Donald Trump and all of his lies, he have people that's following him and believing in him, and even believing that lying is no lie, but just a different way of looking at things. So we know how evil works. And I ask you, what about change? Why can't what I'm sharing with you today cause us to change for love and not hate? Why can't what we're talking about today make us lovers, and lovers that build life and not guns to destroy? I understand, and you must understand, that those kids with guns training to shoot, with those young people out there who might represent different nationalities who believe in death, that there's going to be a race war, we must be able to show them by our own initiatives that we're not killers, we're lovers. And they have nothing to fear from us. There might be many reasons why they do fear. But we must squash those fears, not by going to them, stroking them with any other thing, just the thing of love. To make sure that their fears that they might be homeless will never occur. That they might be without food will never occur. That they might be without health care will never occur. That they might have to intermingle with us with others when they don't want to will never occur. We must give them comfort, but no more comfort than the comfort that we have. We will sacrifice all of the hellishness that we have been taught by the renewing of our minds. And I'm saying to all of you sisters and brothers, all of you fellow Americans and brothers of the world and sisters, let us commit ourselves to a new kind of world. Let us make sure that today we can think about this and really get on our minds and pray about it. And when I say praying about it, what I'm actually saying, I'm actually talking about discussing this, sharing this with our insides, within our inner spirit, that would give us the necessary requirements to make a changing of a renewed mind. That might sound like I'm speaking loud and trying to preach to you, but I want a beautiful change. And I know Donald Trump is not going to bring it. I know that Joe Biden is not going to bring it. I know that no Democrat or Republican or man or woman is going to bring it. It must be the will of the people, by the people, and for the people, guaranteed and protected throughout eternity by we, the people. I understand that our Constitution, one thing that is magnificently beautiful about it is that it says that if we're not satisfied with the way things are, we got the right, we got the duty, we got the responsibility to change it. So what am I saying? I'm saying that if we want heaven on earth, and you got some idea of what heaven means, no Democrat is going to give it to us. No Republican is going to give it to us. So if we want it, let us go to those polls in November of next year. And let us write in for change. Let us write in for heaven. Let us write in a commitment that we're going to play our role in the creation and the manifestation of heaven. That we are going to write in to signify to one another, every citizen in the United States, that this is a mandate, that heaven is our goal and no longer this division. It can happen, ladies and gentlemen. It can happen. We never thought that there would be a Donald Trump. I'm sure there are others who did. There are others who prayed for Donald Trump. But I'm sure likewise there have been others that have prayed for what we are talking about here today. I think it is time we give birth to that. And what that basically means, ladies and gentlemen, if you are considering what I'm saying, you cannot just keep this to yourself. You got to share it with everybody else. If you got a job, you're going to have to share it with the people on your job. If you do have family members, you're going to have to share it with your family members. If you got friends, you're going to have to share it with your friends. If you go to church, you're going to have to share it with your brothers and sisters of the church. If you just party all the time, you're going to have to share with those that you party with all the time. Let everybody know, let Americans know that we are going to make a change. We are not going to settle for the possibilities of a third world war. We're not going to even entertain the idea that there might be a nuclear destruction. We're not going to entertain the idea that there might be a race war. We are going to set in motion what needs to be done to let everybody in America know that all of us are going to have housing of our choice. That we're not going to have poverty and crime and violence. That is all over. Because we have made the decision that it's over. And we're going to act accordingly. And you will be surprised, ladies and gentlemen, at the great power you have. You didn't know that Donald Trump is empowered by the American people, those who support him and those that don't. You didn't have any idea that the people during the days of World War I are responsible for it, as in World War II and Vietnam and Afghanistan today. But that is history, because we are new people. We are beginning right now, today, to change our minds, and the world is going to know it. Why? Because we're going to stand back and shine like the sun. Why? Because that's our choice. That's our choice. Ladies and gentlemen, what I have said with you today is, I'm sure it's nothing new. If you go back and check my post on YouTube and Facebook, you will find that various subjects might have been discussed, but in order to explain those subjects, I ended up talking about the same things. I hope today is different. I hope that today means something, not just for me, but to every last one of us. And for those who didn't hear it, those who did will share it, and it will be known, and it will be a choice that we, the people, will make. And having made that choice, beginning right now, right this moment, our minds are beginning to change. And every inch of our changed mind, our society, our nation is beginning to change, not to become the greatest nation, but to become a nation that is aware of what it takes to make the earth fulfilled in love. And that is our responsibility, to be one and none other. I want to thank you so very much, ladies and gentlemen, for giving me this your time. It has been a pleasure to share this inspiration with you. It is a seed that is planted, and they say if you plant a seed and you treat it right, you're going to get a fruit. And so let's look for that fruit, because we are taking care of whatever is required to treat that seed so that it can produce exactly that which we say we want. Until next time, this is Eddie Marcus saying goodbye.